Well, hello, ladies and gentlemen. We were working on a 2006 Chevy HHR 2.2 LT, and we were going to show you how to solve a P0171 code. A lot of people sometimes don't understand what that code means and what it affects, and I'm going to tell you my experience the other day. Sorry, it's a little nippy out here in Florida today. I was driving to work the other day, not even 10-minute drive. My engine light came on my dash. Then all of a sudden, the code popped up on my hum, which you can get through Verizon. So it was telling me that I had a P0171 code. And they said it was 7 different problems. It could have been. One was the fuel pump, fuel filter, which it doesn't have a fuel filter because it's built all into the fuel pump. Um, It was the fuel pressure regulator, oxygen sensors, and a vacuum leak and ignition coils. Well, we know it's not my ignition coils because I replaced them. My spark plugs are new. My evap's new. My throttle body's not. And so and my oxygen sensors haven't been changed, but it was saying something about bank 1, but it did not apply that it was an oxygen sensor. It was basically stating that my car was getting either too much or not enough air through the system, and to read the air and fuel ratio. So I was doing some digging. My car started shifting really hard, but I wasn't hesitating, cranking. RPMs weren't going haywire, or anything like that. So I was looking over here on this motor, trying to figure out what the hell can I have. What was the problem? But the way it was acting like my VVT solenoids were going. It's like, no, those are new too. There's no way those could be going up by now, and it's not pulling up that code. So I was diagnosing with the brand new hoses that I put on this car. I recently put this hose on here brand new because it was dry rotted, it was hard as a rock, and it broke right off. So it didn't break off, it was about to break off. So I took it off, replaced it with a $3.29 hose instead of buying this piece with it, which was to buy this piece with this hose is like 27 bucks. I'm not doing that. So after I put it on, not even a day later, the light comes on, and you want to know exactly what it was? This thing busted right here. But it wasn't technically this that busted. The trick was there was a hole right here around the lip on the bottom of this thing where they get wrinkled sometimes, because this valve is engraved onto this hose right here. It busted a hole so big I could shove my thumb in there, in that hole. You know how big my thumb is. If you could shove your thumb in that hole, that's a big ass hole. So it was thrown off the code. I thought this hose may have busted or something. So no, it's a brand new hose. I thought maybe I forgot to plug in my mass flow air sensor, which that was another meaning for that code. But that's brand new. But there was a hole so big in there, then that's what was causing the motor not to get enough air through the system to read the correct ratio for air and fuel. So I looked online. You can't buy these in aftermarket. So I was technically doing some research, looking for one. You can't get them aftermarket, so I looked for GM price. This hose alone, with this valve, without this hose, is $150 for this damn piece right here. I'm like, are you serious? That's almost $50 more would you pay to put to buy another motor from a pull-up junkyard for this thing. And think about it, they want 200 bucks to maybe $250 for a 4-cylinder motor. This is half the cost of a damn motor for this thing, pre-owned. So I tried doing more research. I looked on eBay. I also looked on Amazon. Amazon don't carry them. eBay did, but they wanted $170. The minimum was like $140. No, I'm sorry. The minimum was $107 to be exact. AutoZone, Discount them, didn't carry that hose. They only carry this piece here with this, and this is like $30. So I found some of these pre-owned online for $30. But at the junkyards, they're about 30-40 bucks. I went to the Pullett junkyard in Marion County Auto Salvage, which has a lot of stuff. They have a lot more of these cars back there now. I only bought this hose with this valve without this hose, with the old hose that was dry rotted regardless, so I replaced it with this one. This thing was only $12.99 for this hose out of $150. And I think GM had a sale on their parts warehouse. You could buy this for $95 out of $150. But I still wasn't paying almost $100 for a damn hose. Unless I really, really had to. So I got this off of a 2007 model. I made sure it wasn't cracked, made sure there was no holes in it, especially around here. Everything was fine. Took the old hose off. I had to cut all the way down to the nipple off of this to be able to take the old hose off so I don't twist it. I don't twist this valve to be able to put a rip or break the hose. And I'll be screwed. And just so you know, the junkyards do say that you can basically get the same parts, because the engines on a Saturn Vue, on the Chevy Cobalts are the same. On the Chevy Cobalts, yes, they have the same parts, the same hoses, but the Saturn Vues are not. The motors are compatible, but these hoses here are not, because they don't have this valve piece, and their whole air filter system is different. But the Cobalts, I guess these hoses are really common to buy off of them, because I found a bunch of Cobalts back there with no hoses, but the motors are completely there, not stripped. Just the top parts are, like the filter system and the throttle body accessories. So I got one off another Chevy HHR, and they had another one, but it just needs to be cleaned up a little more, and that's about it. Easy to put on. But if these hoses end up breaking, even if it's this hose or breaks here on this, that's going to cause your P0171 code. So before you start buying $30 to $50 parts that you don't need, that you know you're going to have to take back, if you're able to take it back, depending on who you buy it from, if it's third-party companies or whatever, please check this hose here all the way, and check this one too. But if you can't see this hose completely, take this whole damn thing off in the meantime. And always be sure your throttle body's plugged back in. Because if I'm correct, what happens is when this gets a hole in there, it's not getting enough air through the throttle body. And it goes through here. So, I mean, that can cause a lot of issues. It can cause your gas to drop too. Mine did a pretty good bit. But now it's running normal, but you got to reset the computer yourself, because the light does not go out on its own for some reason. If you have a scanner like I do, you can reset it. Light haven't came back on. I drove it, I think 30 miles, maybe 40 yesterday, because of events for Christmas, and took my son to school. I was 30 minutes away yesterday as well. No problem. And just so you know about this hose here, got this off of eBay for $16.99. It's better than the worm hose. The only difference is it's hard plastic, and it's flexible, and it's about as long as this, about as long as far as width on this car. So it folds up, it bends, put it right through there. Buy some big clamps, because for some reason O'Reilly's and all those other parts stores, they don't have those big giant hose clamps anymore. You could buy the off brands for like $3.29. I was like, crap, I think the ones I bought were like this size. But I forgot that they weren't the right size for that, because that's a bigger hose. Because how wide that hose is the hole is 3 inches. That's a 3-inch hose as far as how wide the opening is on it, you know. So I had to buy the biggest clamps I could, and I said, well, these are the right clamps I should buy, because it shows that it would work with those. When my guy's like, holy shit, that clamp, excuse my language, that clamp is awful big to fit on that hose. You just gotta keep clamping and keep tightening it until you get to that point. It fits snug on the actual adapter too that goes on here. It might slide off a little bit because the hose is a little big, but this clamp does work great. Doesn't cause any problems, but I need to cut this off or zip tie it. But I hope this video helps about this P0171 code. If it does or it doesn't, you may leave me a comment or subscribe to my channel today, or you can find out more information on my website called www.worldwidemediagroup.org. Y'all have a good one.